Go. Holla ballers and a brofist to you all. I hope everyone's feeling good. I am late by 1 minute. Late by 1 minute, which is unusual. I know, I apologise, and I don't like being late. There are numbers of reasons I'm being late today. It's been a serious day. Ooh, serious day. I released the UI video. Rejoice in the happiness that it took me a year to crack. You guys sort of convinced me it would be just better if I uploaded the UI and did an install guide for it. Now, I am feeling very ill. Really, really ill. If I have to leave suddenly, it's because I'm going to vomit. I have been feeling ill all day. So I'm really sorry about that. I was feeling kind of ill yesterday. It was a sort of 50-50 daily. I like my dailies to be sort of fun for you guys and entertaining. It wasn't. That's why I didn't upload it to YouTube. I just was like, it's just a faff daily. I rambled and all that kind of good stuff. So if I do leave suddenly, that's why. I will try and come back. But be aware, if I don't come back within 5 minutes, it's probably safe to leave, as I am doing something rather unceremonious in the toilet. Serious business. Today, bad news for me anyway. We are discussing having to cancel my wedding. For no other reason than financial reasons. We'll probably have to cancel the wedding, which is pretty shitty. It wasn't a great discussion to be had, but we had to discuss that today. Was, are we going to do that or not? And we kind of agreed that, yeah, we kind of have to do that, which is kind of shitty. We took and this leads into the next point, which I'll get to. It's going to be a sort of joyous daily, regardless of how I'm feeling. I'm going to tell you a story, so to try and relax myself. I enjoy telling stories. It's one of my favourite things in the world is telling stories. We knew that when Mr. Pandaria would come, the channel would take a big hit. All my old stuff would literally be useless overnight. Hence the reason we're putting out 4 or 5 videos a day. You've seen that out there. However, Mr. Pandaria is also dying, which isn't cool, thanks to the dailies. Mr. Pandaria is a generally great expansion. The dailies are ruining it, and people are dropping left and right out of the game. Not more so than myself, and it's not even because of the dailies. I just know that if I log in, I'll be tempted to do the dailies, and that's kind of off-putting for me. While I enjoy doing the guides, that's a very temporary presence of myself in the game. So we dropped to about 50% of our views. We were at 1 million views a month, which was awesome. We're now at about 450,000. It's not enough to sustain the channel. So this isn't a donation plea or anything like that. So we obviously suffered last month, but we're under the impression that we will suffer for a month, and then when all the guides are out, we'll be straight back up again. It was just one of those things we expected. I predicted it. It was in the business pipeline. This would happen. We were okay with that. I was fine with it. I planned for it. It was okay. So when we saw it, went from 1 million to 480,000. And then we were like, okay, that's the hit. It's going to start coming back up. It isn't. It's actually going down further, which is bad. That's really bad. So in essence, we had to say next month is going to be bad as well, which is kind of like, that's a bit scary. And then maybe next month will be equally as bad if we continue to do what we're doing now, which is to focus mainly, if not 100%, on World of Warcraft, which is kind of sad in a way for me. So ultimately, we cannot do that. I cannot sustain the channel and my dream job by doing what we're doing. I can't do that. So this channel will have to be a 50-50 mix going forward. I have to try new things that I want to do and have not been able to do due to my World of Warcraft commitments. It's never a thing of lack of ideas or content. That has never been our case. As I said in many, many dailies, I have a book of stuff to create. But then it's like, yeah, but I kind of need to do the WoW guides. I kind of need to do this WoW thing. So they get pushed back and they get pushed to the side. So that's the way it goes. I'm going to finish the guides for 5.05 and essentially 5.1 in World of Warcraft. I'm going to finish them. I've started them, so I'm going to finish them. I'm going to take the hit this month on the fact that we have 20,000 subscribers. 20,000 people. It's more than enough to sustain a proper YouTube channel. More than enough. It's plenty. But we can't really, we can't sustain the channel that way. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. Even the amount of effort that goes into some of those videos, like the Blood DK video, people loved the Blood DK video. only received around 3,000 views so far. Sure, it will pick up plenty of views going forward in 5.1 and 5.05. That's fine. It's like bread and butter stuff. But we have ideas of very interesting, fun stuff that appeal to everybody. One of the big traps we've fallen into, which is, I sort of suspected it from a business point of view, is that, and when we did our test with you guys out of why you watch the channel, is that doing class guides is great. And many of you have said they're the best class guides out there, and we fully appreciate that you believe that, and we thank you for that. Is that they only appeal to people who play those classes. So out of those 20,000 subscribers, perhaps only 2,000 people play rogues. So every other video that comes out doesn't appeal to them. They don't want to watch it. They only play rogues, or they only play DKs, or they only play blood DK specifically. So out of the, what, 41, 32 specs, or whatever it is. Oh, my stomach. Oh, not feeling good. Out of all those specs, it only appeals to a certain section of the audience, which is, What I could do is put stuff together that appeals to everybody, which is just fun World of Warcraft related stuff. I'm not finding that fun in the game at the moment to do that. All my ideas about the brilliant stuff I want to produce, some of it involve World of Warcraft, especially the Way of the Warrior 2, and the Machinima series that we want to produce for summer next year will take place in World of Warcraft. I love World of Warcraft, as you can tell from my videos. I absolutely adore it. But from a business point of view, in the model we're following now, it's not working. And I don't want to be just producing content that appeals to everybody for the sake of it. That's not how I want to do things. I want to produce things that I enjoy and you guys might enjoy too. Which is difficult. Certainly difficult to... We're appealing to just too small a member of our audience. Which is okay. Which is fine. That's what we've done to ourselves. It's nobody's fault. Besides mine, probably. So we're going to be changing things up. Again, cancelling the wedding is a big sort of smash in the face on those things. We can't afford to get married, essentially, because of the hit we've taken. It was like, really bad. Especially as a growing business, I have lots of people around me who want to be more involved and can be more involved and help us out. And taking big hits and sort of putting ourselves in the World of Warcraft box is not going to work out long term. Especially as people are dropping out of Mists of Pandaria very, very rapidly. We kind of expected the queues on the service to go down. They've gone down more than they should have very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. And it's not uncommon to see a lot of people in WoW complaining about dailies and stuff like that. It's essentially dailies that have ruined it for a lot of people. I was surprised to see the numbers on how many people have quit Mists of Pandaria already. I saw a report today that you guys haven't got access to. It's one of the privileges of doing this job that I get to see certain numbers from certain people, certain business reports. And the one I read was pretty damn scary of how many people bought Mists of Pandaria was way, way lower than Cataclysm. And how many people have already quit. Which means long term the challenges cannot continue in that manner. So we'll be changing it up a little bit. I'll be moving into more entertaining stuff, which is what I really do want to do. The class guides have been a burden on me recently. As much as I enjoy doing them, they're the same over and over again from like an editing standpoint, which is where you can really be creative. They're very much the same. And I try and mix it up with the intros, but the content is still the same. I still have to go through gemming, reforging, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't mind that. But the problem is, if nobody watches it, it's a waste of my time. It's a real waste of my time. In essence, if I get paid sort of $2 per 1,000 views, and one of the videos I spent maybe 6 hours making generates 1,000 views, I've just earned $2 for 6 hours work. That's not cool, is it? That's not cool. So that's the crux of it. Woo! Ugh. So that's been my day today. What else did I do today? Well, I was supposed to do the Paladin today, but as I was feeling ridiculously ill, my commentary would have sucked. So I'm going to do the Paladin tomorrow. I'm going to have a rest tonight. I think I'm ill for a number of reasons. One being overworked. Working sort of 18-hour days continuously is really taking its toll. And I have this real bad issue of forgetting to eat, which is really stupid. Yesterday, it came to the point at 11 o'clock where I realised I'd literally had a bowl of cereal at like 9 AM. And it was about 11 PM, and I felt very, very weak. I was already feeling really ill. And then this morning, I took Ben for his morning walk. I walk sort of 6 miles every day. 6 miles every day with Ben. We take him for a 3-mile-ish walk in the morning and then another one immediately after the daily. And this morning when I was walking him, I almost felt like I needed a rest while I was just walking around, which was really scary. I was like, oh, I could do with a rest. And I was like, whoa. This realization dawned upon me. I was walking around. I mean, it's quite hilly and stuff. I mean, it's real countryside walking. Some really steep hills and over rivers and stuff like that. And I was walking around, and then I was like, I could do the sit down. I was like, wait, what am I doing? Why would I need to fucking sit down? Why would I need to sit down? What the fuck is this? And then I pulled myself together and got home, and I did the UI video, which was relatively easy to make, but it's something you guys really wanted, so that was no problem. And then I decided to just, I wanted to just play a game. I thought that might relax me a bit, make me feel a bit better. And Genji was online because he's been waiting to put on the website about the UI video and all that kind of stuff. And so I was very much in the spirit of, let's do the UI video, let's play a game. He's like, well, let's just play some Minecraft. I can see the chat was spamming me, get off Minecraft. I wasn't playing Minecraft up until this. I stopped playing Minecraft about an hour and a half ago. But I played Minecraft all day, and it was very relaxing. I kind of know what I want to make in Minecraft, but I'm still struggling to see the overall picture of the game. Like, we were playing it, we created a little base, and our game plan was to get more resources in order to eventually build something cool. But most of the stuff we had to make in the meantime was ways of getting more resources. We're playing the Tekkit server, by the way, which is pretty cool, and I kind of got it, and some of it was fun, making farms and stuff like that. I relatively enjoyed myself, but after about 2 hours of like digging and mining, I was kind of fed up with that. I wanted the end game already. Sort of spoiled by World of Warcraft. What a Wrath of the Lich King attitude to have, right? I played for 2 hours. Why don't I have everything in the game yet? What the hell? I should have everything by now. Where's my epic armor? I've been in game for 2 hours. It's so Wrath of the Lich King. Total Wrath, baby. Ugh. And that's how I felt after like a couple of hours. But I'm going to keep playing for a little bit more. It was kind of fun. I'm going to build something like out of Goldeneye that comes out of the water and stuff like that. So I've got a little thing in mind that I want to do. And plus playing multiplayer with your friends is always cool. In World of Warcraft, I kind of ran into this thing over the last couple of months where I was just logging in to do something and then not really playing with anybody. All my friends were online, but I wasn't really doing anything. I'm not quitting WoW, by the way. I know people will be like, oh, he's leaving WoW. I'm not leaving WoW. I'm going to diversify the channel, which means there'll be slightly less WoW content, for sure. But there'll be a lot more entertaining stuff. I'm hoping to spend sort of 3 or 4 days on a video that's really well edited, and I want to see your response to that. So hopefully I'm going to get one out sort of next week. I want to try this out before I go balls deep into the Way of the Warrior, which is one of the things I'm really, really looking forward to, is the Way of the Warrior 2, because it's just a chance to be creative and sort of play around with things and do all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm definitely going to finish the class guides as soon as possible. From my point of view, the sooner I can get them done, the better, to get them out of the way. So look forward to more spam than already is coming in your sub boxes, okay? I know some of you have already had your class guides, because one of the things that started to really dawn on me is people, I think I did Warrior first, I think I did the Warrior first for the class guides, is people are already asking when is the next Warrior or Warrior Advanced guide coming. Because that's that part of the audience. It's like, yeah, we had our Warrior stuff weeks ago. When's the next thing coming for us? Which is completely understandable, which is the situation I'm in now. It's like, well, I can't do that because I've got to do every other class yet. So I will finish the class guides, and then I will do some advanced guides on classes I think need it. And I will revisit some of the guides that I didn't do. I still love WoW, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm still going to level on the US servers. Overall, I'm still going to be doing WoW stuff. But I'm also going to mix it up and do some other things alongside with it, which I hope you really, really enjoy. Which will appeal to all our audience and hopefully entertain you. My main goal is to entertain you. So on that subject, not quitting WoW, I wanted to tell you the story of the 4 or 5 times I've thought about quitting WoW and why. I think this is important. Everybody at some point gets this feeling. I think it's time I left World of Warcraft, and something usually spurs it on. Something usually empowers you with this situation, which is like, I think it's time, you know? I think it's time for me to quit World of Warcraft. And when does that time come? A lot of people like to put themselves in situations that will make them quit, right? Some of you could probably relate to this. Is you put yourself in a situation where you feel like if this happens, I can quit the game, right? Because you want to quit the game, but just leaving the game feels like you're just giving up. You probably haven't completed everything you wanted to do in the game, so you look for a situation that will push you to leave. This happens in real life as well. People just don't like quitting their jobs. They wait for that thing that is the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay? If you don't know what that term means, it's essentially a camel can carry loads of stuff and you can keep piling weight on, but eventually just the weight that will stop it being able to carry it to being on the floor, collapse with its legs spread, is just like the weight of a feather. That will be, or the straw. The straw is just the thing that tips it over the edge. That's it. Wipe out, camel on the floor, start again. So people look to get themselves in that situation. I know this because that's what I did. That is one of the things I did. I left the game proper, I would like to say, in vanilla. In vanilla, I was very young and very felt like I was being mistreated. In fact, I've got a number of emails for Drama Storytime on Friday which relate to this situation. So, in vanilla, I leveled my warrior at the behest of my brother. He was like, come and play this game, World of Warcraft. I was playing another MMO at the time called Neocron. And level on my server because I'm there, your nephew's there, your nieces are there. Come and play on this server. I'm in a big raiding guild. Now, I then started to do what I usually do in the game, which is research the crap out of it. Raiding guild? What the hell is a raiding guild? I then learnt about bosses like Ragnaros. And I spoke about this in the Problem in the Mists, which was this legendary status of bosses. I started reading about 40 players, which was unheard of in most MMOs at the time, working together as a group, taking down a boss that needs 40 people to defeat. And then I learned, obviously, about Molten Core. Ragnaros is just the end boss. And all you saw of him was screenshots. Not much video out at the time. So you saw these screenshots of this Fire Lord. Had all these buzzwords with him. Fire Lord. He's got this huge hammer of Sulfurous. He whacks you, burns you, and all this kind of stuff. And he can kill 40 people. At the time, I considered it impossible that anything could kill 40 people easily. This guy can. So, we're in this situation where I'm learning about World of Warcraft, and I joined the game as a warrior. And I level it up to level 60. It took me ages and ages to level to level 60. And I got all blue gear. I worked my ass off. I constructed the Imperial set. Who remembers the Imperial set, right? The green set. I'm talking about a time in World of Warcraft where you worked hard to create green items that were probably about level 56, I think, the Imperial set. I think the Imperial set was about level 56, something like that. Or maybe like the head and the shoulders were 58. But you worked hard. You had to gather a lot of mats in order to create this green set. That's a different level than where we're at right now. You know what I mean? That is totally different. And so I was working hard on my Imperial set because I made friends. Something that doesn't really happen right now for me. Maybe I'm just too far down the line, and maybe new players do this. A great guy for doing this is Ghost. He bumps into random people and he makes friends with them. I only ever did that in vanilla. After that, I always played with people I already knew. Or people who joined my guild, and then I became friends. I never really made friends outside of guild or group or real life friends or long-term gaming friends, right? So I bumped into a couple of guys, and I think his name was Lacus or something along those lines. And then he was like, hey, add me to friends list. Because we were both warriors. But he was more advanced than me. But he was guildless. And whether or not it was my guild tag that attracted him to me, I don't know. But I generally have the same personality I have now, of spamming and just having fun and talking a lot of shit, you know. And I'm just generally just shooting the breeze with a lot of guys. And then he was like, hey, let's be friends. I was like, that's awesome. I've made a friend in World of Warcraft. I was so giddy at the time. I was like, oh no, I've made a friend in World of Warcraft. This is the best. And so we went along with that. And he told me about the Imperial armor set. He says, I'm working on the Imperial set. I need 2 more pieces. I'm like, oh, what's the Imperial set? He's like linking it to me. And I was like, dude, those stats are really good. He's like, yeah, you won't really get into a raid, which I'm talking about Stratholme, Shalomance, UBRS. You won't really get into those raids without having at least the Imperial green set. God, you don't have the Imperial green set? You're such a noob. I was like, I know, man. I've got to really work on this. And so off we went. And he helped me. He was a blacksmith. He was like, I'm constructing it. I don't know whether he had to find the recipes for the parts. Maybe he did. And going away. This was the time. Let me tell you a funny story. Is I never had a weapon enchant. And I'd never had an epic weapon. I was around level 45. I will be amazed if any of you ballers in the chat right now will know what this weapon is. There was a mace I know the name. I've just remembered it. I've totally just remembered it. But I'll describe it to you. A little bit of a quiz for you guys. A little bit of quiz. So there's a mace. It's an epic level. It's a two-handed strength mace. I might not even have any stats on it. And no, I can see the guesses going on there. No, not right. And it looks terrible, but it was epic. And it was really cheap. And the reason it was really cheap is because it was really bad. Right? It was terrible. Oh, not the full name, but it's close. It's close. And it was on the auction house. I think it was about 190 gold. Which was, it was still a lot in vanilla, but it was about the sum of all my gold, pretty much. And I wanted it. I craved it. Oh, there we go. Someone's fucking Googled it. Someone's Googled it. Tyrant Icebreaker, it was called. The Tyrant Icebreaker. This thing had a chance on hit, I believe, of launching a fireball. That's why it was the Icebreaker, because it could break through ice. So, off I went, and I stared at it at the auction house. Have you ever done this? You probably did when you first started the game. I was at the auction house, and I was looking for weapons. I had a really bad old weapon. I think I probably had about a level 30 green. And I'm staring at the auction house. Like that. Oh. And I had, I think, probably about 180 gold. So I didn't have enough. And I was so afraid that somebody was going to buy it. Terrified that somebody was going to buy it. So I'm running backwards and forwards, and I'm selling everything in my bags. Everything I've got. Even stuff I need. I'm selling it. I'm selling everything I possibly can. I'm selling cloth. I'm selling food, for coppers, silver here and there. Just trying to get up to the next 10 gold in order to buy this thing. And I didn't have it. My niece was online. I was like, can I borrow 10 gold to buy something from the auction house? And she was like, what is it? You're level 45, you noob. What the hell could you possibly need from the auction house? I'm like, there's this epic two-hander. It's so good. You've got to let me get it. It's perfect for me. I'm level 45. It's level 45. We are going to be forever friends. I guess level 45. It might have been something different. But I was like, oh my god, I need it. Please give it me. Please just give me 10 gold. And she probably had a few hundred gold, maybe even 1,000 gold at the time. And she's like, sure, you can have 10 gold. Sure, yeah, take your 10 gold. And she gave it me and I was like, oh, what if somebody has already bought it? And she was like, I'll mail you the gold now. I'm like, no, you must come to Ironforge. You must come to Ironforge and give it me in my hand. Somebody might buy it. And she's saying to me things like, nobody's going to buy it. It's terrible. Nobody's going to get it off you. Nobody's going to get it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And I'm like, no, you must come to Ironforge. You must right now and give me the money to buy this thing, this treasured, precious item. It's the only one on the server. It's got to be the only one on the server because everyone else is just deleting it or whatever. So she comes to Ironforge. She stops what she's doing. She comes to Ironforge. She gives me the 10 gold. I run so fast on my little dwarven legs, giving it all that. I'm a dwarf, I'm a dwarf, I'm a dwarf. I run my ass off to the auction house in order to acquire this item, and it's still there. Oh, yes. Buy. I went down back to 0 gold, like 0 gold, but it didn't matter. I didn't care. And I run to the mailbox, and the mailbox hadn't updated, and I'm like, what the fuck is the weapon? Where's the weapon? And then poof, it appears. I get it out and I equip it. And I'm like, oh yeah, buddy, I've got a Tyrant Icebreaker. And I literally was standing around in Orgrimmar. Now, I don't know if any of you know what the Tyrant Icebreaker looks like, but it looks like shit. It looks absolutely terrible. It looks really bad. And I stood around in Orgrimmar, I've unsheathed it and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, who wants to fuck with me now? And I'm thinking to myself, I bet I could take on a level 60 now with this weapon. I bet I could destroy some people. But no, alas, it wasn't that good. But at the time, I felt on top of the world. I felt like I was the best geared guy on the fucking server. I really did. I thought I was awesome sauce. I really did. So, off we go. I want an enchant. This is an epic item. I had never had an enchant in my entire life of World of Warcraft. I had no idea how enchanting worked. All I knew is that fiery weapon looked badass. That was it. That was the limit of my knowledge. Like when I logged into Minecraft, all I knew is that creepers explode. That was it. I couldn't make anything. I couldn't make a damn thing. I just knew that creepers explode and they chase you. That's it. So with enchanting, all I knew is that fiery weapon looks awesome. So, I start spamming, forgetting I have 0 gold, looking for enchanter, fiery weapon. Some guy who's studying Orgrimmar, this is before scrolls, obviously. So anybody who's selling enchants was just had to stand in Orgrimmar or Ironforge and spam, you know, I'm an enchanter. So he whispers me, he's like, I can do fiery weapon. I was like, cool, right? This is what I did. I swear to God, the noobish thing in the world. I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm stood in front of the bank. That's the bank area in Ironforge, isn't it? So I run over there again as fast as my little legs could carry me. I've done a tour of Ironforge, Orgrimmar, a tour of Ironforge with my Tyrant Icebreaker, just so people could drool at my presence of just looking so incredibly badass. I've done the whole lap. I've gone through the middle past the Anvils like, oh, you're crafting your weapon? I've got a Tyrant Icebreaker, you fucking scrub. So we're doing all this kind of stuff. And then I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm stood here. So I walk over to this guy, and I just trade him and just put my weapon in the slot. And then I took it back and closed the window. I was like, this dude's going to steal my weapon. He's going to take my weapon from me. That's what's going to happen here. I heard about scammers. I heard about these scammers when it comes to enchanting. I heard about this. Have you seen it on the trade chat? Scammers. There's a scammer about. He scammed me for my enchanting mats and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really terrified that this guy's going to steal my new Tyrant Icebreaker. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, are you going to steal my stuff? And he just didn't answer. He just opens trade again. He's like, what's this newbie doing? So at that point, he really knows I'm a complete noob. I didn't think anything of it. The one great thing about being a noob, this is the best thing ever about being a noob, is you don't know you're a noob. Now I do. Now I go into a game and I quite openly say, like I said to Genji before, I died 4 times in Minecraft before. I've got a funny video of me just dying to the stupidest things, like falling in lava and stuff. And, for Minecraft Tech It friends, I totally got given a Ring of Flying, which is really expensive, and then died in lava. Just so you know. Just to piss you off that little bit more. So, he trades me and he's like, just put it in the slot. And I was like, no. Oh, I'm telling a lie. He then whispers me, this is what happened, and my memory's becoming a little bit clearer. He said, why are you trading me the weapon? Right? And I'm like, what do you mean? Because I need the enchant. This is what I said, something along these lines, like, because I need the enchant fiery weapon. And he's like, right? Why are you trading me your weapon? Obviously, I'm supposed to have the materials. I don't know what enchanting materials. I have no idea. I was like, just give me the enchant fiery weapon, you fucking stupid. And then he goes, he's just looking at me bizarrely. And then he straight up is like, no, you need to trade me the materials. And I go, oh, what are the materials? And he's like, links me the recipe or whatever it was, or he just reads them out. I can't remember in vanilla if you could link recipes. You might not have been able to, but he lists them off for me. And then I go, then I say to him something like, how do you get those things? And I can't imagine what was going on at the other end of this screen, but luckily, excuse me, luckily this guy wasn't an asshole. And he's like, you get them from the auction house generally. And then he says to me, but I do have the materials on me if you would like to pay for them. I haven't got any gold, right? I haven't got any gold. And then Thoughtbot, fucking hell. Oh my god, That's Ghost about Thoughtbot. He lived on Thoughtbot. Side story, when you play next to Ghost and he's questing, it's like the most frustrating experience in the universe, because the quest will say, go directly east from here and kill these things. Ghost just gets the quest, and then he reads the quest name, and then he looks it up on Thoughtbot. Or he used to, that was in vanilla. And I have read the quest while he's like copying the title of the quest. I'm like, dude, you just go east. Just go east. This is before you could do things like LAN and play together, right? So you go to your friend's house and you watch them play. That's what we used to do. Or he'd come here and watch me play. So he would go get the quest, read the title, and then Thoughtbot it. And I'd be like, dude, it says go east. It says go, it's that way. And he's like, yeah, let me just check where it is. And then he'd get a map with like 1,000,000 dots all over it where the mobs are. He's like, oh, okay, it's over there. It's all over the map. And he's like, and then he don't go off a quest. It used to annoy the shit out of me. I'm sure he'll remember me going, why are you Thoughtbotting it? It says go right there. It says do that. Anyway, getting back to the Enchanter story, which is another side story. I will get back to the main topic of this story at some point. What time are we on? It's been 30 minutes already, my god. And so it was. So he says, "I've got the enchant mats on me. If you'd like to buy them from me." And I was like, "How much are they?" And then he said something really nice, like 30 gold. Look, call it 30 gold, and you can have your fiery weapon enchant. And then he said to me this question: "Are you sure you want fiery weapon? It isn't very good for you." And I was like, "This." I kind of think this was my response, but I could be wrong. I think I said something like, "What other enchants have a red glow?" Yeah, that's what I said. Like transmog before it was cool. So I said something along the lines of, "What other enchants have a red glow?" And he's like, "Nothing." He said, "But you want something like +5 weapon damage or something." And I'm like, +5 weapon damage? That sounds terrible. I want fiery weapon. I want fiery weapon. He's like, all right. And by this point, this guy is totally like, this guy is such a noob. And then he's seen that I want to enchant this epic mace, so he's totally thinking to himself, this guy just has this epic item. I would think the same thing about this player. I put two and two together. It's like, this guy has an epic item, and he just wants to enchant it. So, so he then says, "It's going to cost you 30 gold. So I say, "Oh, sorry, I haven't got 30 gold. And he says, okay, look, just trade me the weapon. And like, I don't want you to steal the weapon. And he's going, I'm not going to steal it. Please, just put it in the trade window and don't do anything. So I trade him the weapon. He says something like, "You will not be traded," or whatever. And then it appears, enchant weapon, fiery weapon. Click OK. And I was so terrified of pressing that OK button. I was like, he's going to steal my weapon. It's going to happen. And I was like, ugh, clicked it, and then it closed. And I was like, where's the weapon? Check everything. Where's the weapon? Where is it? And I've still got it. I was like, oh, thank God. It was like the most stressful experience of my World of Warcraft fucking life. And I equip it, and it glows red, and I was like, thank you so much. Like, in Whisper to this guy, I was like, you are a god among men. You seriously are a god. He's like, really, don't worry about it. And I said, can I add you to friends list? And he said, no. He was like, no, you can't. No, you cannot add me to friends list. And I was like, oh, this guy thinks I'm an asshole. Like, totally thinks I'm an asshole. He's like, oh, come on, be friends. You do free enchants. I want to be friends with you. He's like, fuck off. Lost and never come back to me. You just scammed me out of fiery weapon mats. And I was like, oh, alright then. So off I go into the brave new world. And ultimately I capped my warrior. After a long haul, actually, I think I did a lot of AV around about level 57, maybe. Something like that. Building towards, what was it called? The Unstoppable Force? Yeah, the shield was the immovable object. I think the mace was the Unstoppable Force. I think so. And it stunned people, right? I think that's right, the Unstoppable Force. And so I was told by my nephew, who is pure PvP. He still plays WoW to this day, and he's a god at PvP. It's all he ever wants to do. He's just an arena king. He just wants to play arena. He re-rolls all the time, flavor of the month, but he loves it and adores it. And he was telling me, you need to get into AV and get the Unstoppable Force. So it's like when you ask people, what should you do in game? If you're new to the game, or you know somebody who's new to the game, and they say, what should I be doing? If they're PvP-orientated people, they're like, you've got to farm honor. There is nothing more important in this game than getting your resilience up, or your PvP power, or whatever the fuck it is now. You've got to do that. There's nothing else. Someone asks me, I'm like, well, get yourself into some 5-mans, get some heroics down, you get some badge gear together. People give you totally different directions to go, which can seriously affect your World of Warcraft life, right? So, I finally cap and I step into AV, and it's time to find my Unstoppable Force. At the same time, I was obviously more drawn, due to my natural inclinations towards these type of games, towards PvE. Especially when I saw the guild I was in, which is called Immunity. When they start, or they call Phase. They might have been called Immunity or Phase. They changed names at some point. We're doing Molten Core. And then they were linking epic items. And I was like, oh my god! And it didn't matter what it was. It could have been cloth. But I was like, oh. And then someone got the, what was it called? The sword from Molten Core. Obsidian Edge Blade? I want to say? Obsidian Edge Blade? I think it's the Obsidian Edge Blade. I kind of want to say Obsidian Edge Blade. Yeah, the chat's saying yes, so I'm going to go with Obsidian Edge Blade. Someone linked the Obsidian Edge Blade. My fucking pants flew across the room and nearly killed everybody next door. That's how excited I was about an Obsidian Edge blade. I was like, oh my god! Wasn't from Onyxia. Wasn't from Onyxia. Yeah, it was a two-hander. Definitely a two-hander. So, it was a case of I saw the Obsidian Edge blade. I think it was a random drop. I want to say it was a random drop from every Molten Core boss except Ragnaros. I think every boss had a chance to drop it. I think, or maybe the first 4. Something like that. So there it was, the Obsidian Edge blade. Someone got it and was like, well done. I was like, yeah, well done. Then the Brutality blade. And these fucking names stuck out in my goddamn mind, really. They stuck out so hardcore in my mind. Like, these names, compared to what I was finding was the Imperial set. If you're from the UK, an Imperial means one thing. It's a mint. It's a pussy-ass mint. Fresh breath freshener. It's terrible. This thing is called the Obsidian Edged Blade, the Brutality Blade, the Corehound Tooth, the Tooth of a Corehound, Max RP. Fucking stab that gangster. I was seeing all these weapons, drill borer disc, and I was rolling around with, I have no idea what the name is, but I'm sure if I describe it, someone will know it. It was silver square with spikes coming out of it. It dropped from Stratholme. I had that shield. That was when I was starting to tank badly. Really starting to tank. So I was ultimately aiming. I did some AV, and I loved AV at the time. Arcanite Reaper. Oh yeah, the Arcanite Reaper. That was another thing. He's like, you can craft an Arcanite Reaper. Someone links you the materials to the Arcanite Reaper, and you're like, how the fuck do I get all this stuff? It's like, yeah, it costs thousands of gold or hundreds of gold, and that was pretty crazy. So I was looking around for what to do next. So the Imperial set was the next step on my journey. So I gathered some Imperial set. I think I ultimately only got 2 pieces before I was like, I was me. I was very me about it, which is just jump in head first and hope for the best. I tend to do that a lot in games. Like, sometimes I'll speak to people and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this first and then I'm going to build myself up to that. Kind of like with the Minecraft stuff. It's like, well, I'll start on vanilla and then I'll move towards Tekkit and things like that. I was like, fuck no, I'm going Tekkit. I'm joining a Sholomance raid. I'm a level 60 warrior, bitch. Fucking stand back. I'm level 60. I can cope with this shit, right? What the fuck does gear mean anyway? I've just come from an MMO where gear was pretty much irrelevant. It was all about player skill. Wrong, Mike, noob, fucking failure. So we step into Sholomance and stuff, Stratholme. I get the shield. I started getting drops, Valor. I started getting my Valor drops. So then the next stage on your journey, this is what I do miss about WoW, right? The next stage of my journey was to collect the Valor set. So I speak to my friend, Lakusa, I think it's called. I'm like, Lakusa, look what I got. And I link him Boots of Valor, maybe? Boots of Valor, something like that. I was like, I got the Boots of Valor. He's like, dude, you got the Boots of Valor? I'm like, I know. I'm fucking the shit. I am the shit right now. I got my Boots of Valor going on. I got my fucking shield. You kidding me? You guys, you fucking Imperial set. Get over yourselves. Green, noob. I've got my fucking Boots of Valor on over here, up in this place. And I'm just grabbing bits and pieces from everywhere. I was also a student at the time, which meant I had a lot of time to play, so I could afford to do the old school method of waiting 2 hours to form a group to do a dungeon. You know, that was okay for me. So I was just like, this is fucking cool as shit. I'm building up my warrior. Ultimately, after about a month or so, I had generally blue gear. I've got to be ready to raid, right? I didn't care about crafting things or anything like that. I didn't know anything about magical resistance. So I start asking for a raid spot. I felt very entitled. I had just leveled in World of Warcraft 260. I had just collected some Valor gear, right? I even had a Draconian Defender. Who remembers what that is? Who remembers trying to farm a Draconian Defender? Fucking seriously. I've got a Draconian Defender. Invite me to Molten Core immediately. And they're like, oh yeah, have you done the pre-quest? We have a spot open now. I'm like, the fuck is a pre-quest? Just let me in. Like, well, this guy's obviously a noob. So instantly I'd lost any chance at that point. Looking back, that was the point when I knew I would never probably raid with these people if I knew now. They're like, you've got to do the pre-quest. I'm like, pre-quest? What? Pre-quest? Like, yeah, you've got to do it's still in the game, Blackrock Depths. You've got to do the pre-quest for Blackrock Depths. So I'm like, fine. Looking for group Blackrock Depths. Nobody ever wanted to do Blackrock Depths unless it was for the Molten Core run, which was very, very rare because most people never had the chance to get into Molten Core. Raiding was very a step up above the normal game. So people very, very rarely wanted to do Blackrock Depths. So I tried and I tried and I tried. I could just not get a Blackrock Depths group. Ultimately, I saw in the guild that they were taking some new recruits to get their achievement done, on alts probably or something like that. So they let me tag along. I think Ghost came along as well. I kind of think Ghost came along on his Paladin. We were Alliance at the time. And I got in and I got the achievement quest done. But by that point, I had done the fatal thing, is reveal myself as a complete noob cake. My door handle is moving. What's happening?
I need my boots, I've got to go. I can't sit.
You've got to go. Okay.
You have to keep bending it because he's going back to you and everything.
I can't keep bending here. Just put him out there. If I hear anything, I'll come out. Oh, what's he chewing?
Everything.
Is he being a chew monster? He's got to go mental if he's in here. Do you mess? Okay, I'm going to try and tidy this up in the next 10 minutes before Ben loses his shit, as we like to say. Okay, so I got my Molten Core achievement run, but I had done the fatal thing, which is reveal myself to be a complete amateur bastard, and they were never going to take me to Molten Core. Not that anybody would tell me that they were never going to take me to Molten Core. If I didn't know about the pre-quest, I certainly did not belong in Molten Core. So I got the achievement done, and then I was like, invite me to Molten Core. Sorry, we're full. We're full on warriors. They had a lot of warriors in that guild anyway. So again, it made sense. Why would we take a newbie when we've got geared warriors to go, right? So I never got in. About a week or so later, I got a whisper from the guild master, who was very close personal friends with my brother. He's called Bicky. Bicky was somebody who my brother had met in real life on several occasions at LAN parties. You may have heard of I-29, I-30, stuff like that. It occurs in the UK, a major LAN event. They had met there a number of times. So he knew him, and my brother had obviously said, oh, my brother's here, you know, can you bring him along whenever you can? Probably like a brotherly thing. It's like, can you just bring my brother along, you know, if you're doing anything and there's a space? And he's like, well, yeah, I suppose so. Isn't he a fucking noob? And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, kind of. You know, my brother was calling me a noob. How times have changed. And Bicky whispers me, the guild master. And at the time, I thought a guild master was essentially God, pretty much. And me thinking Bicky of a god now is just not cool. And so I was asking, Bicky whispered me, do you want to come to Onyxia? I was like, yes, I want to come to Onyxia. Please, God, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go. He's like, you've done the pre-quest, right? I'm like, there's an Onyxia pre-quest? He was like, yeah. It's a long one too, you've not done it. I'm like, fuck man, are you kidding me? Another pre-quest, another stage on my journey. Brilliant for the game, really interested. Doesn't occur anymore. So then I had to begin the Onyxia pre-quest. Needless to say, I never finished the Onyxia pre-quest on my warrior, ever. Truth be told, I didn't go on to complete the Onyxia pre-quest until I was Horde and capped many, many months later. So I was just stumped. About a week or so later, I then got asked if I would like to come to Molten Core. I was like, yes, I've done the achievement, I'm ready to go. I think I'm set, I'm going in. What's your fire resistance? We're lacking tanks. Fire resistance? And then I got really, really fucking frustrated because I was like, why are people only telling me about this stuff now? Why didn't you tell me ages ago? As if it was their responsibility to fill me in on the game. It's your job to tell me what I need to do. I should not have to be looking shit up myself, ever. I don't need to be doing that. Your job's to tell me. I am a member of your guild. I have leveled to level fucking 60. Level 60, bitch. You should be telling me. That was my attitude at the time. I was like, why are you guys only telling me this now? Of course, it was common in-game knowledge, and it should be stuff you knew about at the same time. So I was really frustrated, put off. I felt like I had achieved a lot. I very much felt like I had achieved a lot by capping and getting blue weapons. I had the Blackhand Doomsaw, for fuck's sake. The Blackhand Doomsaw. I was tearing shit up in AB. I was naturally quite good at PvP, I've got to say at the time. Without being egotistical, I was pretty cool at PvP. I was tearing the fucking place to pieces. But ultimately, I'm just going to try something. Hopefully, this will relax him. Just don't bark, okay? I was naturally pretty cool at PvP. And so I really, really wanted the situation to resolve itself by not making me do a lot of work and everyone else doing the work for me. I very much felt like people should be running me through the Onyxia chain quest. I seriously thought that. I was like, well, you guys need me. You asked me to come, so obviously you need me in the raid. That's a Megalodon, Bear. That's more expensive than you are, so go away. JK, and I very much wanted that to be the case. I didn't understand why that wouldn't be the case. You guys should be running me through the stuff. This combination of frustration, not getting anywhere, sort of being resigned to either wait 2 or 3 hours to do a dungeon, or do PvP. I'm going to cut this story in half and finish it tomorrow. Meant that I gave up on the game. I just could not see a reason why I would play World of Warcraft. It seemed to be full of egotistical, elitist pricks. They weren't egotistical, elitist pricks. They were literally just people who understood the game and didn't understand why this fucking newbie, who is a friend apparently of the Guildmaster, was asking these ridiculous, stupid quests about questions that have answers that I should already know or should find out myself, and was almost demanding that I be run through stuff. So I basically did this big thing in guild chat. Can you imagine? I'm just a casual social member. I'm a nobody to these guys. These were guys who were raiding regularly and doing reasonably well. They hadn't killed Ragnaros yet. I think they were working on Major Domo. Just want to point out, I went on to one-shot raid Major Domo under my raider leadership with a new guild. Just going to put that out there. But this is what the situation was. And I just couldn't get it together. None of my old gaming friends. I've got to point out something here. Me and my brother have very rarely played the same game at the same time. Very, very rarely. In fact, that stands for most of my family. And when we have played the same game, we've very rarely been in the situation where we do things together. In fact, I can only recall it happening once during the Burning Crusade when I created my own guild from scratch, as I invited all my family along, and it was a brilliant time. I loved it. But for most of vanilla, he was a raider, I was the casual scrub, I was terrible at the game. My nephews all had PvP. I didn't care much for PvP. All these kind of situations occurred. And then further down Vanilla's path, when I really started to raid, is I was a Horde and they were all Alliance. Even Ghost stayed Alliance. When I left the game, Ghost continued to play as his Paladin. He loved his Paladin. And I think healing Paladins were relatively simple at the time. So even though Ghost was as big a newbie as me, he could easily heal in a raid. You had to press Flash of Light a lot. It was not that difficult. And keep blessings up. Pretty easy to do. So he was more than able to join them in raids. He didn't even need that much fire resist. Healers didn't need that much, you know what I mean? Especially Paladins who could bubble out of it. Hell, he could be the out-of-combat Reza if he wanted him to. So he found a spot relatively easily. One thing about Ghost is he doesn't play well with others sometimes. And he ended up moving from about 4 or 5 different guilds until he found a guild he really, really liked and got on with. And then he stayed with them all the way through Blackwing Lair. And at the time, I was raiding sort of AQ40 and Nax, but Ghost was raiding Blackwing Lair and just wanted Judgment Armor. That's all he wanted in the world was Judgment Armor. And he was telling me how he had manipulated the system to make sure that he was in line to get all the next Judgment pieces, which was pretty hilarious to read, because that's how Ghosty rolls. You moving the camera, Ben? Yeah? Just going to move that camera a little bit. So that's pretty cool. Hey, mate. Yeah, alright. You gotta go for a walk. You're getting anxious because you want your walk, aren't you? Hey, you want your walk? Yeah, you do. Come here, say hello to the camera. Say hello to the people. A couple of 100 people there who want to see you, mate. Ah, you scrabbler. So, we went on. I feel like a really old man now, sat here with my old dog. He needs some attention. He needs his walk. So, that was the first time I quit. And for reasons that I don't think were wrong at the time, due to how I was feeling, which was frustration, a total lack of help and assistance, even though I didn't deserve it. And if I was now, I wouldn't expect it. But at the time, I expected it. And expecting something and not getting it can only lead to anger, a real lack of satisfaction with the game. And that was the first time I quit. And I quit for about 4 months. I went back to my old MMO where it was comfortable. I had authority. I was one of the top clan leaders. Get off, you're going to eat me. Go on. You're going to eat my hand, Ben. You can bugger off. When I was one of the old clan leaders and all that kind of stuff. And I felt very comfortable there. And it wasn't until that game was dying when I left the first time. So when I came back to WoW, it was a fresh start. And after that, I quit 2 more times. So I'll tell you about those tomorrow. That will be tomorrow's story. So, what did I say in chat? I did the ultimate drama llama thing of saying, sorry guys, I'm leaving this guild. Something along that. Let me try and refresh it so it's correct. I was definitely drama llama mode. I wanted the attention. I wanted them to know that I was leaving the game because of them. I remember that was my inclination going in, is I felt they had really disrespected me and abused me and really, not abused me, that's the wrong word, but just not given me the due attention I needed or was deserving of. Or I felt I was deserving of. I felt like they had really let me down. To be fair, I had been promised a lot when joining them. When someone says, yeah, join our raid guild, we're raiding Molten Core, we're doing all the end game stuff, we're doing all this kind of thing. So, why don't you just pick the loudest thing in the universe, Ben, and then chew on it. Thank you very much. I really felt like they'd let me down, so I started off with something like, guys, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to leave the guild in the game. And I waited. Whereas most people would just quit at that point, right? I didn't. I waited. I was like, I'm leaving the guild. Respond to me. There's always somebody who responds to you. Ben is, in fact, chewing everything he can find. And I waited for that moment. Someone was like, why? I was like, glad you asked. Why indeed? Why indeed? I said, well, you guys haven't really helped me in the least. You'd say I need fire resistance, but you're not prepared to give me fire resistance. And they were replying like, lol, just farm your own fire resistance. We had to. I was like, yeah, but you have easy access to it. In fact, most of the fire resistance items I looked up on Thoughtbot were from Molten Core, which they are. Or they're crafted with stuff from Molten Core. And I was like, yeah, but you don't give me the chance. And then one of them said something like, have you even completed your Onyxia quest yet? And I was like, no. No, of course not. Of course I haven't completed my Onyxia chain quest. And that's your fault as well. Because you haven't bothered to take me to Onyxia chain quests. My dog is not a dick. He's deserving of attention. He wants his walk. Ow. No. Goodbye. So I was just giving it all back. I was defeated very easily in the argument because I didn't have a basis for an argument. I just wanted to have an argument. And I was being really stubborn. And then as soon as it got too hard, as soon as the questions were quite obviously and people were laughing at me basically, is when I quit the guild. I was like, God, stop fucking laughing at me. Oh, God, you guys are the assholes. I'm leaving the guild. Like a complete baby. It's like, oh, fuck you guys. I'm leaving the guild because of you, right? I could just hear paper being torn. And that's what happened. And then I quit the guild and I logged out. I never logged in again. I didn't log in again until I played a Horde Priest. But then I quit again several times after that for a number of reasons. So I'll go into those tomorrow. It'll be an extended story time as well tomorrow. And Friday! Someone was just saying, is it not Drama Day tomorrow? No, Drama Day is Friday. And we have some good juicy stories. But keep sending them. I like to pick the cream of the crop that I think will be entertaining for you guys. So Drama Friday will go ahead as planned. I'll try and do some question time tomorrow as well. I'll try and condense my story into less of a, an extended series. So I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go and walk Ben. And then I'm going to have a relaxing evening because I'm actually like sweating sat here. I feel really terrible. So I will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you'll be good. I hope this daily wasn't depressing for you. I hope it was relatively entertaining. See you tomorrow, same time. 5 p.m. GMT, twitch.tv/preachlfw. I'll see you then.